Hi guys, this is Pravesh, and once again welcome to my channel Code AI. And in continuation to my React series, now I am today going to show you how Vite works internally. Why it is simple, fast, and beginner friendly. So let's start. Let's dive in. So Vite is a build tool for modern web apps. It uses browser ES modules and it has super fast dev server. So basically, Vite helps you start your app fast and update instantly. So you can say Vite is not a framework, it's a build tool plus development server that helps your app run fast. So this is all the jargon, and let's try to understand how the Vite starts. So it does not start from any index.js or any JavaScript file. It starts from index.html. So the browser loads the index.html, and the moment it sees this script is type is equal to module, and then src is equal to src slash main.jsx. The moment it finds this module, then it starts loading the Vite components, and that's how it starts working. So let me dive in a little bit more. So what browser does is browser loads index.html, and once index.html is loaded, it immediately loads main.jsx. Now main.jsx in turn loads app.jsx, and app.jsx then loads various components that are inside or that you have coded. So basically that's why it is called SPA or single page application. So Vite is nothing but a single page application. So once index.html is loaded, every other module is hot reloaded, means every other module will get updated the moment it has some change. So you can say browser asks and Vite serves and React renders. That's how it works. So that is why it has this virtual DOM concept. Why Vite is fast? Because in the old tools, it used to bundle everything fast. But in Vite, it loads files only when it's needed. So it cooks only what customer orders, if you say in the restaurant sense. Now, why instant update? How does Vite instantly updates? So basically, it has no page refresh. Vite watches file changes in the code, and the moment it has detected any change, it immediately updates that particular component instantly. So that's why the change appears much more faster rather than building the whole module first, which I've told earlier. So the final takeaway is index.html is the entry point. Browser does most of the work, and Vite is equal to speed plus simplicity. Vite is fast because it trusts the browser. So that's why Vite. So let's get started. Hi. So welcome back. So let's start our terminal. And in terminal, I have already navigated to my folder where I will put all the code. So let's create a directory over here. So we'll say mkdir Vite starter. That will be the directory. And I have created the directory. Now let's get inside the directory by changing the directory. So it's going to be cd Vite dash starter. Now here we have to initialize the app. So we will type npm create Vite at latest space, and then you can type your own app name. You can type my own app or something like that. Since I've already navigated inside the folder, so I will just type in the current folder, and then I will just enter over here. And now here we have to select React, and then we have to go to JavaScript plus SWC, and then use roll down. We say no because it's experimental, and install with npm and start now. So we'll be just installing plain Vite to just navigate and see how it works. So it is installing right now, and it has even installed all the modules. So now let's open the folder. So we'll go to the folder and we'll click on Vite starter and select the folder. So now we have got this folder in Vite starter, and we have got all these files installed because we have initialized the app and installed the app using npm install. So now if you see over here, it is already running. So we can say npm run dev. This is the command to run this Vite app. So now the development server is running over here. Now, if we go and check in the browser and we type localhost 5173, and you can see your Vite is running over here. So this means that the project has been installed properly, it has been initialized properly. So now let's see the inside pages, how actually it works. So the entry point is index.html. So once we on the left hand side, if you see, we have got node modules, and then we have got public, then we have got src, and then these are all the files. So we have got package.json over here. Here we have got all the dependencies which will be installed when we are creating the application. There's vite.config.js. You don't need to interfere or change anything over here. Then we've got the readme file, then we've got the package.json. Then this particular file will get created the moment you install the Vite modules, the other node module. And then this is the entry point, index.html. And then we have got ESLint, then we've got gitignore, then we have got src folder, public, and node modules. So in the node modules, you've got all the necessary libraries that are installed will get installed over here in separate node modules. We have got all the code that we are going to write. We are going to write in this src module. So now let me show you index.html. So if this is the first file which get loaded onto the browser the moment you run Vite app. So here you can see we have got this particular area which says div id is equal to root. This particular div section is where all the components that you will create will get replaced and will get hot reloaded over here. If you see here, the module says main.jsx. So this is how the browser will know which particular module or component needs to be loaded. So let me now go into the main.js because it will, the moment index.html is loaded, it will go through the main.jsx file. So main.jsx, if you go, you will find over here, there is this particular function which says create root, which is imported from this particular library, create root. So this function, what it does is, it says document.getElementID by root. So it basically searches in the index.html the element which has id as equals to root, and then it renders this component. This is the app component. As you can see, it is imported over here. Now if you see over here, this app is imported from the app.jsx, which is this app. And if you go here, it says function, and then there is this app function. And if you see this function, it's here written export default app. So because of this line, this function gets exported and comes and renders over here, and this will render this particular section over here. So if we right now say we we delete this, or we make it read only, so that it, so now once this particular index.html is loaded, it will not be able to find this particular div because it is read only now. So if you see into the browser, there's nothing. There's no component loaded over here, nothing. But if we go here and we just remove this and we just save it, and now if you see, this is how it is loaded. Now these are all the elements which have been declared in app.jsx. If you see, it has got this image, Vite logo, then it has got this React logo, and then it says Vite plus React. So let's remove everything over here, and we will put simply a simple div. And here we will say my app entry point. Now if you see this particular section, we don't need this, so we can remove this from here. Now it should only show this particular message on the page, rendered page. So see, my app entry point. This is how the entry point starts from here. So now suppose you want to create another component. So let's try to create one simple component, a very simple component. So we will, and then we will be able to put multiple components over here. So this will be the entry point for our component. So let's say we create our folder which says component, and in the component we create, say, header. So we create a new folder, say header, and in this header component we create a file, header.js. Remember, the component first letter should always be capitalized. If you make it small, it won't work. So because this is how it differentiates between what is component and what is a normal JS file. So because this is all a JS file ultimately. So inside the header.jsx, we will say RAFCE. Sorry, we have got function header return, and we can have a div header text, and then do not forget to say export default header. Now we have created a very simple component over here, the header component. Now to include that header component over here, we need to import it. So we will say import header, and it goes into components, header folder, and then header. So this is how it goes over here. Now we just need to put above the div, we will say header, and we will close this. Now we have imported, so this is the component. Under component section, we have got this header.jsx file. In the header.jsx file, we have created a very simple function where we have just said header text. And now in app.jsx, we have imported over here, import header from And here we have created this. We have just introduced this header over here. Now if we just save it and we open the browser, you will say header text and then my app. So it's so simple. Now you want to, in our normal search, you can create a footer also. We can say footer folder, and under the footer folder we can type a new file footer.jsx. Here again we can say function footer, and here we can say return div footer text, and then do not forget to export. Yes, export default footer. Now we have created the footer component. Now you have to import the footer again in app.jsx. We can come here and we can say import footer from components footer footer, and just below this we can say footer. So now we have header and we have footer, a very simple component. Now if we have saved this, now we just go and check, and you can see over here, this is the header tag, this is the my app entry point, and this is the footer tag. So this is how you are able to easily create many components inside the page. And if you see from inspect, or you can say view web page, view source, you will be able to find these all JS files in the head, and in the body you have got this root folder, a root element. Inside the root we have got, as we have said, the header text. This is one component, this is another component, and this is just in app.js. This is the text over here. So hopefully you have now understood how Vite works internally. So because this was a very beginner friendly tutorial, we cannot go much deeper inside that. This is good enough for anybody to start Vite development. So let's get going, and I will be coming up with more tutorials for Vite. Thank you, and if you like my tutorial, please subscribe and like my channel. Thank you.
Generate by AI.